Welcome everyone. So we are still working on the Getting Started lesson of Illustrator Classroom in a Book, and we are still working on, well, we've just created the muffin of our advertisement. So once again, we are working with the goal of creating this. So at first you created the chef's hat, then you created the muffin, and now we're going to place and manipulate the lettering. First though, I want to talk a little bit about the difference between bitmap and vector images. So we're going to use this page from Photoshop Classroom in a Book. I can get you a copy of this for reference as well. Before working with vector shapes and vector paths, it's important to understand the basic difference between the two main categories of computer graphics, bitmap images and vector graphics. You can use Photoshop to work with either type of graphic. In fact, you can combine both bitmap and vector data in an individual Photoshop image. Bitmap images, which are technically called raster images, are based on a grid of dots known as pixels. Each pixel is assigned to a specific location and color value. In working with bitmap images, you edit groups of pixels rather than objects or shapes. Because bitmap graphics can represent subtle gradations of shade and color, they are appropriate for continuous tone images, such as photographs or artwork created in painting programs. The disadvantage of bitmap graphics is that they contain a fixed number of pixels. As a result, they can lose detail and appear jagged when scaled up on screen or printed at a lower screen resolution than they were created for. So you've probably seen that when you've looked online and you've tried to use certain graphics for other projects that you've done for school. It can get frustrating. Vector images, on the other hand, do not have this problem. They are made up of lines and curves defined by mathematical objects called vectors. These graphics retain their crispness whether they are moved, resized, or have their color changed. Vector graphics are appropriate for illustrations, types, and graphics such as logos that may be scaled up to different sizes. So this photo shows you a good example. This would be an example of a rasterized image. This might be something that you would have created in Photoshop, and if you zoomed in enough, you would see all of the different pixels that make up this image. And if you don't save it in the right image quality, this is how I'm going to see it when I'm marking it. On the other hand, in Illustrator, you're going to be creating vector images that look more like this. No matter how close you get looking at the image, it's always going to have clean, crisp lines and solid colors. You're not going to get this kind of a pixelation thing that can happen. So they both have their advantages and disadvantages. I just wanted to define that, and we'll be coming back to that a lot in the course. We're going to move back to the image that we were working on before. At last time we met, you had created the muffin and gone object, hide, which it's blurred out there, but you can see that there's an option to hide. So you've created it, it's just hidden at this moment. We want to place the lettering, the bakery lettering. So we're now on page 21 of our Classroom in a Book lesson. We're going to place this raster image. It's a raster image, which means when we look at it at first, it's going to have pixels. So let's just get started. First, we're going to view, fit artboard in window. Then we're going to number 2, file, and place. And when you look here, you then have the option to choose the lettering PSD file. We're going to select that and click place. Then you get a loaded cursor. That's what this is called when you have, and you can place it anywhere. So we're going to click in the upper left-hand corner, and you're going to drag so that the bakery font basically covers as much of this yellow board as possible. Then it's covered. You can see if you really zoom in, we'll just click off so we can see. Really zoom in, you can see that it's pixeled, and that's not what we want. So we're going to change this bitmap image into a vector image. Now we're moving on to the section of the lesson that says using image trace on page 22. So you can use image trace to convert raster images into vector artwork. So what we're going to do is go back to selection, click there, and then we're going to click right here in the options panel to we're going to click image trace. Then we're going to go window, image trace. Now we have this dialog box. We're going to select right here where it says black and white. And then, so right now you can see already that there's a change in the font. It doesn't look so pixelated. It looks really clean and like a solid black. So it's already been turned into vector, but it's not yet editable. So in order to do that, we're going to click, first of all, in mine I've already done this, but you're going to click this arrow next to advanced. You're going to click ignore white. And ignore white. And now you can see the white paper that this was drawn on is no longer there. And then we're going to close the image, or close the dialog box, I'm sorry. Then up here, we're going to click expand. And now we can make the object a series of editable vector shapes. Now we're going to put a gradient in the color of this lettering. So making sure that the lettering is still selected. If not, go to your selection tool, drag a selection over so the bakery is selected. We're going to click on the fill up here, and we're going to choose right here where it says white to black, and then we're going to hit escape. Now we're going to go window, gradient, and we're going to get the gradient options box. We're going to just make sure that you've got the fill clicked here, so whatever changes we make actually happen to the fill, not the stroke. We're going to double click next to here and this opens the swatches. Now your textbook, the Classroom in a Book book, wants you to choose this brown. You can see it pops up, so you have a value of cyan 50, magenta 70. We'll do this again. Yellow should have been 80. And black is 70. Remember, K actually represents the value of black. They want us to choose that one. I'm going to choose this one so you can see it a little bit better. And then we're going to press escape. If you Control plus, you can see there is a gradient applied here, but it's not going in the direction that we want. So Control minus. Now you're going to go, this is step number 5 on page 23. Choose the gradient tool right here. Pressing shift, you're going to start at the top of the lettering and you're going to move down. So what this will do is make our gradient go from top to bottom. And if you zoom in, you can see, holding down the space bar to get the hand, and you can see it's lighter up here and it gradually gets darker as it goes down. And I'm going to Window, Fit Artboard, View, Fit Artboard in Window. I'm going to collapse this because I don't need it anymore. Okay, the last thing we're going to do in this little tutorial is to add type here. Actually, this is not the last thing, but we're getting close. You're going to select the type tool. You're going to click in the blank area on the artboard, and you're going to see Lorem Ipsum is automatically right there. With the cursor still in the text, we're going to select all. And we're going to select it. Then we're going to go to the character panel. Make sure your font here is 14. If it's not, fix it. Now your book has you applying a font from the type kit, which we're not actually going to use. So instead of doing that, I just want you to choose a font that you like. And while I'm here, I'm going to move this off to the side so you can actually see what's going to change. So font, right here, you can see as you scroll up and down the choices here, because your font is selected, you can see how it's going to look. So choose one that you like. I'm not picky. Let's bring this back over here. And what you're going to do is highlight this, delete it, and write the word San Francisco. Okay, so you've got San Francisco now. Now we're going to go to page 25 under the subsection Aligning Artwork. And it says Illustrator makes it easy to align or distribute multiple objects relative to each other, the artboard, or a key object. In this section, you're going to align several objects to the center of the artboard. So we're going to do object. If you have things locked, you're going to unlock all. Then you're going to select the selection tool. You're going to go up here, select all, and you're going to choose align to artboard. And it should have done that. Not working for me here, folks. Align to artboard. Okay. Well, at this point then, we're going to click the horizontal align center button. So what that looks like is this one right here, horizontal align center. Now it's centered. And then we're going to object, show all. And now we have our chef's hat and our muffin that we've created in previous lessons. We're going to select the chef's hat and drag it just, click off, click the chef's hat, drag it so it's right above the A. If it's interfering with the letter a bit, if it's interfering with the letters a bit, you can always resize it. It shouldn't be touching anything else. Then you're going to click off, that's where we want it. And at this point, we're just going to leave the muffin where it is because we're going to end up using that again in subsequent lessons. So from here, you are going to select, deselect. I've already done this. Then you're going to File, Save. And that's the end for this little section of our tutorial.